guys. You can't turn your mic on. You were too stressed out by the Nickelback song. It's such a good song, though. That song fucking slaps, does it not, you guys? Yeah.
That's right. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for coming, Yasi. For no reason in particular, I have brought you 2 bottles of wine.
Okay. That's so nice.
Let's see what we got here. No, that's the second one. The first one, I went right around the corner here. I asked for a nice white for someone who is health conscious. He was like, that's not enough information. Like California, France, or Italy. I was like, California. Yeah. He just pointed at one. I bought it. It looks pretty nice.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's the first wine. The second wine is from Ohio. I shipped it here. I put it in a box. And I'm not going to say the brand name because this is medium rude to even talk about. This is Lake Erie Sweet Belle. It is sweet table wine. When I brought it home, my wife was like, "What'd you get?" And I told her, and she made this face, and that's when I decided to get the second.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so try this, and if you don't like it, serve it to your enemies, serve it to rival podcasters, insurance people. Yeah. And finally, I know you are very health conscious, but I couldn't not bring the official delicacy of Ohio, which is Buckeyes. This is not an OSU thing. This is chocolate and peanut butter. Don't overthink it. Don't eat all of them at the same time. I made
not like
rookie
a nut
mistake.
That falls from a tree or something.
That's another thing. This is chocolate and peanut butter. That's all it is, just in a rough nut shape. No to all of this. All right, that's fine. I'm used to that, but
Thank you, Rob. That's so kind.
Of course. Yasi, you are so loved, so beloved.
You guys stop.
One of the great joys of my life right now is just going to the GoFundMe page, just reading the comments.
Rob, you're being so presumptuous. Did you guys know my house burned down?
Feeling the energy.
What if they don't know? Then they're gonna be like, why is he talking to her like she's Make-A-Wish Foundation? And like, they need to know. Not everyone follows the, social media.
What's been going on with you, Yasi?
Besides the house burning down.
No, that's it. That's probably all that's been going on with you.
It's taken up a lot of time. Well, I'm living with my new roommate, my dad.
Yes.
And we've been watching White Collar, which is really a good show to watch with your dad. I mean, honestly,
seasons of
there's
White Collar?
So many seasons.
Yeah.
Things are good. Listen, I really wanted to declutter you guys, so... That's a cheap joke, but it's actually true. It was literally on my vision board for 2025. Also, I used to have moths, and I don't have moths anymore because they died. And this is really honest, and it's gonna sound like a joke, but on one hand, I lost everything that I've ever owned and loved. Yes, but on the other hand, I love attention. So I have a really conflicting feelings about what's happened. There's so much attention. Yes. It's so nice. But no, seriously, you guys, I went to my P.O. box. I'm going to cry. The first time, and I've been going regularly, and I just opened all these incredible gifts from all you guys, all the people that listen. I was so touched. I was so moved. I cried for 2 hours, just T-shirts from people's personal collections, books that you guys know that I would like. Somebody was like, I heard you talk about the untethered soul. That's right, babe. I'm woo-woo, and I needed to heal my soul. And she was like, I live nearby the ashram where the man who wrote it runs it, and I got it signed for you. Just I've just been crying, and I'm so sorry. I was in not a right headspace, and I meant to take down the information of everyone who sent stuff to saying I didn't, and I'm so sorry, but just know that if you send something, it's meant the world to me. It's meant more than you can understand, so thank you. And that's enough of that. I don't want to be burnt down house girl forever. # burn down house influencer. Also, the Instagram, this is so 2025 in such a bad way. When the Instagram post that I dashed off at 5 a.m. just because I was so many text messages asking, did your house burn down? I have to answer, yes, my house burned down. I was let's just put out my house burned down. And then it went viral. Okay. It's quoted in the Washington Post. Okay. Dystopian. But very nice. So thank you to everyone. And Rob for your nice gifts.
It's okay. It's fine. I'll just take it home. It's all right. I actually brought 2 bottles of Ohio wine, and then I was like, I can't bring 3 bottles, and 2 of them are basically undrinkable. And so there's just a bottle of Ohio wine in my hotel room, just staring at me like, why did you bring this via Southwest?
2 bottles of sweet table wine?
They fit in the box, man.
Okay.
The other one was Amish themed. There was a buggy on that. I don't think they bottled it, right? I didn't know what I was doing. All right, I panicked a little bit.
I'm so touched.
And this is the result.
I'm grateful. I'm really pleased that you brought it for me. Yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on with you. What's been going on with you?
It's freezing in Ohio. Sure. My son next week will be portraying Uncle Wes in the Footloose musical. At his middle school, he's got a mustache. It is going to be a trip to have my 13-year-old son portraying a stuffy adult in a movie that I watched when I was 10 years old. That's going to be very confusing for me from just a chronology standpoint. But I'm very excited about that. He was in Frozen Junior last year, but he was in the ensemble, right? Like he was in the winter chorus, et cetera. But he has a speaking role. He has to play fight. This is going to be very, very exciting.
Did you do theater when you were a kid?
I did not. I did choir. Okay. I did we sang show tunes and stuff, but I did not act in any capacity. No.
Show tunes.
Yes, my wife was in Bye Bye Birdie and stuff, so I think that's where he's getting this bug. But it's very exciting. I'm going to be very proud.
I'm really happy for him.
But I think that's about it. I feel very...
I don't know how much more we can mine the burned down house.
Yeah, we were going to come out to Talking Heads burning down the house. Yeah, we had a long conversation.
They said it was a bad idea, and I was like, okay.
We asked Sean Fennessey, and he said, that's not a choice I would make, but...
Dad
and that's when we decided against it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I do have one more thing to say.
Okay.
Of all the really fun, because you gotta laugh, of all the funny things that have happened, maybe the funniest is the text message I got from the Real Real. You guys fuck with the Real Real? I think if you're a woman and you have ever sold to the Real Real, you understand the relentlessness with which they will text you, being like, "Hi, it's Madison. I'm just checking to see if you have any blah 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 to sell." And so I get a text message the other day, and it was like, "Hey, it's Addison, your Real rep. I noticed on the map that your address is in the area that was afflicted by the wildfires. Are you okay?" And it had a quotation mark at the end. I was like, "Addison, did you copy and paste this "Are you okay" message?" Also, not even here's $100 credit. I'm not okay. I have no clothes left, babe. Send me a credit. I could buy some more at the Real Real. Anyways, that was very funny.
I don't even know what that is. What is the Real Real?
It's a designer resale website where people consign their designer clothing, and other mentally ill people like myself buy them. Yeah.
And they also do wellness checks for people whose houses are burned down.
They do community outreach to people who have been afflicted by the fires. Nice. Yeah. Well, you guys, we're here not to draft all of the precious items that I have lost in the fire. However, to draft soundtracks. That's right. Yes. So we will bring out at this time Sean J. Fennessey and Christopher Q. Ryan. Who have graciously agreed to draft with us, because you legally cannot say no to me in one calendar year after my house burned down.
That's right.
My middle initial is not J.
It's not Q either, by the way.
What did I just say about my house burning down? It is tonight. As usual, we're tasking Chris Ryan, who's just so good at this, the draft master, to...
Really, I'm not that good at drafting. I'm usually...
efficient.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at drafting.
Authoritative.
I try to be.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at drafting, just full stop. But also, you just are you have such a way with explaining the words and terms clearly in the way I don't not possess.
So we're doing soundtracks tonight. I will specify that we are not doing scores, which I needed clarity on. Maybe in the 7th inning of my prep. And, so no John Barry, we're not going to do any John Williams. Is the soundtracks largely comprised of songs with music and lyrics, right? So we are doing 5 categories? 5. 70s, 80s, 90s, 21st century, concert film. You can pick, while we're going through the rules here, we'll establish an order. That person can pick anything from any category, and then it's off the board. And then we will be relying on public opinion to determine the winner of the draft through your clapping, and I wonder who will win.
Guys, please don't be swayed by my personal tragedy. This is a fair and square fight. Sean wouldn't have come otherwise. He knew.
This is interesting.
Do you think the Dodgers look good this year?
It's like a challenge. Like, how bad would your draft have
That's
to
what
be?
I'm saying. For
You gotta
them.
just pivot
I could just really push it.
A lot of people at home who are like, I don't know, that story about Rob's son in Footloose really touched my heart. Uncle Wes, you say? I'm voting for Rob.
Bad move. Congratulations, Yasi, on your victory in the draft about to transpire. You have bested us.
I was thinking we could go in order of the way we're seated, and then that would put the onus on Sean to give up the first pick to Yasi as an act of great benevolence.
You guys are going to have to watch his face, though, because Sean is the world's most competitive drafter. I've never met anyone like this, and it's going to be a real challenge for him.
We're going to do this snake draft style, so it'll go this way and then that way.
I feel really othered by you, I gotta say.
You could give it to me if you want to split the difference. It's just
Pretty funny.
I will happily grant the first selection to Yasi with all comfort and ease in that
Okay.
decision.
So we'll go Yasi, Sean, Rob, me, Rob, Sean, Yasi.
Can I get fired in this calendar year or no?
I'm an officer of the Spotify Corporation. That's all I have to say about
Somewhere
that.
DeepSeek is just writing all the new Bandsplains. It's just like, babe, it's so important what they did.
what a goddamn gorgeous,
I'm
beautiful
mentally
song.
ill, JK, love Primal Scream.
The feminism left my body.
The AI is going to be like, this song fucks. Oh my God, I would be so honored to go first. Thank you so much, Sean, for your
It
graciousness.
is my great honor.
Yasi, if you don't mind, at any given point when you've picked a movie, will you just throw that up there and say what category it is in? We should have markers.
So
everywhere.
we're going this way around?
Yasi, you, after the trade where you got, in return, you got nothing. Yeah. So Yasi, you,
Your
Rob,
dignity.
me.
A warm feeling in your heart.
That's right.
Do we just, sorry, this is kind of a dumb question. Just our own draft picks on our own board.
Yes, you do not have to write down my draft picks.
Okay, I'm going to choose 70s.
Okay. Chronological.
Well, yeah, it was the one I felt the strongest about. And I'm going to draft the 1978 film Grease. Is that breaking the rules?
I don't know. I'm merely a guest on this podcast.
Okay.
I have no idea.
We didn't ban musicals, but
If we objected right now, what would happen to us?
Get out!
Can 3 people be struck by lightning on the same stage simultaneously?
support me or not?
Did you make that face because it's a musical? Did you make
You
a
did it
face, or
again.
was I just...
You made
We're
the
talking
face.
about this backstage. So
Sorry, this is an audio-only podcast for some of you, but Sean did make a face.
Yasi looked at me 5 minutes before she walked out on stage and said, "Why are you making that face?" And I don't know what my face looked like. And I said, "Yasi, this is something that my wife often says to me. Why are you making that face?" And usually it's, "Take that face off your fucking face." But I don't know what my face looks like. So whatever face I made, I don't know.
She said Grease, and you almost seemed like point of order. That's what I was reading from
That's
your
what
face.
I thought. There was going to be an
just my
objection.
face.
A challenge
You
flag.
have standing objection face, resting objecting face. Incredible.
Grease sounds wonderful, Yasi.
Well, I thought there might be blowback, but just in case, I did research as I am wont to do, and so much of it was written exclusively for the film. So I feel like it's not just like a straight Broadway to film situation.
Whatever you want, Yasi.
Oh my God. It's not even fun anymore.
Grease was not a stage musical before it was a movie, right?
I don't know. I don't know anything
Right?
about musicals. Someone said correct.
It was.
It was interesting. When was it a stage musical? Before the 70s?
Who's our theater nerds?
Fantastic research for this program.
This is the first overall pick.
This is the first album we're talking about. Nobody knows anything. Pure vibes up here. We all have the halo. I'm sitting next to someone whose house burned down, and so I think we all have a protective halo around us right now.
Are you looking up Grease on Wikipedia right now? Can you name one song on Grease other than Summer Love, just so I know?
Name 3 songs, Yasi.
Look at me, I'm Sandra D. Lousy with a virgin. I did that in the talent show. Okay. Go, 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 Grease Lightning, Blue Moon, Born to Handjive. I had this like double album and it like shaped me as a child. Fantastic. I loved this movie. 1971 was the stage musical, so it did predate.
You're in it.
Yeah, as they say in the film, Grease is the word.
I just love it. You're the one that I want.
Good.
Olivia Newton-John, familiar with her? Beauty School Dropout. Come on, you guys. This goes so fucking hard. Just four sides. Double disc. Anyways, that's my 1970s draft. Thank you very much.
You can just move the wine. It's fine. I'm not even going to take it off stage.
John, you're up, but take your time.
It's a real death blow to my strategy, taking Grease off the board first overall. Boy.
Sean in shambles.
Some of us don't play to beat other people. Some of us play
You doing
to be
crowd work now? What are you standing?
earnest
Like,
Yeah, you just turned into Lewis Black there. I'm here with the kings and queen of the 90s, so I have to go 90s, right?
Yeah, the 90s was like an
you should
embarrassment
just
of riches.
do like a
so I
Twitter
thought-
thread where you're like, the 90s are superior to
You
everything.
did. You went very hard
Right?
on like the corporate environment that allowed the 90s to flourish.
Did you disagree with that
No,
sentiment?
I did not. It was just...
But you're like, oh, you guys love the 90s, not like me.
That's right.
I didn't say not like me. I'm a part of this. I'm going to go with the 90s, and I'm going to take Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Good.
The first scene of Pulp Fiction, right? And the credits roll, and it's the surf music, and the radio station changes, and it goes to Jungle Boogie. That's awesome. What happened?
really hard.
That was sick.
Girl, you'll be a woman sooner, Joverkill. Gorge.
That was good. Yeah.
Favorite song on the Pulp Fiction soundtrack?
Counting Flowers on the Wall. Statler Brothers. Maybe Never Can Tell, Chuck Berry.
That's got to be mine.
Maybe Miserlou by Dick Dale, the Deltones. Maybe all of them. Here's the thing. I'm sure other soundtracks like this will be chosen, but one of the great things about all the Tarantino soundtracks is the dialogue on the soundtracks, which was a great tradition that I think was started, by Good Morning Vietnam. The Good Morning Vietnam soundtrack, which had Good Morning Vietnam, all the Robin Williams shtick from the movie. Yeah. And I think it was because like MCA Records pioneered that strategy, and that was just a way to not have to rewatch Pulp Fiction, but be inside of Pulp Fiction when you would listen to the soundtrack. So I love it. So that's my pick.
Good one. Surprising no one, but it's a good pick.
They can't all be Grease.
Had I wanted to get your ass, I could have picked 90s and drafted that, but I don't play dirty like you. Okay, who's next?
Me. Purple Rain. I've spent a couple weeks trying to talk myself out of it, but there's no talking myself out of Purple Rain, which I honestly believe is the greatest album ever made. Recently I have come to that conclusion. This record has been with me all my life. Purple Rain comes out in '84. I'm 6 years old. I know Prince is the guy in the bathtub in the When Doves Cry video. I know Purple Rain, the movie, is the movie I'm not allowed to see because of illicit sexual type content. I grow up, I realize that Prince is one of the most beloved commercially and critically, humans ever. And then when he died, I was at a baseball game with my dad. We were at Cleveland. It was the Indians at the time, celebrating my dad's birthday. It was in April. And they start playing Let's Go Crazy on the organ, right? And I'm like, uh-oh. And I start getting the texts or whatever. And I just remember how the tone changed, in my family. My younger brother is there, my parents are there, and just the vibe changes completely, right? And we drive home from the game and we listen to Purple Rain the whole way. We find it's like a live version of Purple Rain, the song. It's 20 minutes long. The guitar solo is endless, and it's just all four of us in the car, just dead silent. This reverence, and it just out of nowhere became one of the most beautiful resonant music experiences I've ever had in my life. Just sitting in the car with my family, listening to this music that I periodically take for granted, right? It's just in the air. I've had a couple MRIs just for very minor things. They're like, what music would you like to listen to? And I say Prince. Every time I say Prince. And every time they start with Let's Go Crazy, and I'm in the MRI thing, and I hear Dearly Beloved, and I start laughing and shaking so much that they have to stop the MRI. They stop the music. This has happened to me several times. This is just an album that periodically I'll take for granted. It's always been with me. Oh, sure, it's great, but I put it on again. I get to I Will Die For You. I get to any song, literally any song. And it's no, actually, this is my favorite album ever made by one of my favorite people, favorite artists I've ever known. Is a kid watching MTV, it's a 90s kid watching MTV, and he's got assless chaps now, and it's holy shit. I just finally getting to see him live, and just the single best line of rock criticism ever is Bob Christgau saying, Mick Jagger should fold up his dick and go home. Single best sentence of rock criticism. We should all metaphorically fold up our dicks and go home as rock critics. After that, I was rambling a little bit. Purple Rain from the 80s is my pick. Absolutely.
I am now seeing the error of my Grease ways. I had my own personal strategy.
It was like a micro episode of 60 songs.
Seriously.
How lucky are you?
You went
guys?
off the dome with that, though,
I'm really
too.
glad I didn't pick Purple Rain.
How he talks. How annoying is that?
You should have been in Blaze battles. You could have
Rob, when you go home at night and it's just you and your wife and you guys are talking, are you well, when you think about this song, I was in Cleveland in 1990. Okay.
No, thank you.
It's been really nice here tonight. I feel like it's really warm. It's really supportive. I'm sorry, we're going to change that up a little bit. I'm going to take Train Spotting.
You already knew, babe. I didn't even put on my list, honey.
You're not?
Because I knew you were going to take it. It's also not my favorite.
Isn't of the 90s? No. Okay.
It's a great soundtrack. It's not my favorite. It's Embarrassment of Riches in the 90s.
I would say that the 90s soundtracks kind of have this through line where they're mostly mixtape soundtracks, obviously, but some of these have a collection of songs that feel like they didn't exist before the movie. And Train Spotting is like that for me. Born Slippy was this huge song. Sing was on an earlier Blur album. Statuesque is, this sleeper song. But I felt like hearing those songs together was this coherent aesthetic statement that went perfectly with the movie itself. And probably Lust for Life is a really good example of that. It's a huge classic, but is the first opening frames of the movie, the drum beat, you're just holy shit, here we go, let's steal some heroin. So Train Spotting is my 90s pick, and I have the benefit of being on the turn here.
You want to write it on your board?
I will in a second.
Could you do it now?
I don't want to sit here and wait for him
Well,
to
I
write
wanna-
that down.
Could you actually do it? The rules say
I'm going to zag and go concert film and go Last Waltz. R.I.P. Garth Hudson.
Absolutely.
Perfect film, perfect concert, perfect band to name the band. And I was just watching the performance of The Wait with the Staples singer the other day, and I was like, music pinnacle. Absolute pinnacle of music. Yeah, music fucking rocks.
Dudes rock.
So I will do Train Spotting in the last waltz, and I will go home.
Good job, Chris Ryan. Fun fact about me, I've still never seen The Last Waltz.
Never seen it.
I've never seen. I know they're gonna take my podcast away.
I was gonna wear the Van Morrison purple velour outfit tonight, but
I
didn't.
can't laugh at that because I don't know what you're talking
Jumping
about.
jacks.
He does like kicks. You know Van Morrison, who's just a
I know who
wee
he
Irishman.
is,
You
yeah.
know, he's just doing kicks
Like a
on
leprechaun?
stage. What's that?
Like a little leprechaun.
Not that short.
All right, so it's back to me.
Yeah.
I am going to do concert film as well. I'm going to do Aretha Franklin, Amazing Grace. So the album was 1972. The movie was locked forever for weird, vague technical reasons. I think it finally came out in 2018. But it's the crowd for me. You know, I love Stop Making Sense. I love The Last Waltz. But what I love most about live albums is the interaction with the crowd. I think about James Brown at the Apollo, Folsom Prison Blues, like just the roar of the crowd, like up to Erykah Badu doing Tyrone. Like what I need from a live album is that feeling of connection, and it's just the rapture of the crowd. You know, she hits like 6 amazing high notes per song. Like it's just, I really do think it's like the most towering vocal performance by anyone ever for an hour and a half. It's just unbelievable. And the crowd is just right there with her the entire time. I think it was filmed in LA, you know, at the Baptist church. And every time I watch it, you know, you just focus on even the crowd behind her. Like when she sings Amazing Grace, the choir is arranged behind her. And the choir, like the people backing her up, are so blown away by what she's doing. They're you see it in their faces, like just the shock and the delight. You know, as much as I love The Last Waltz, Stop Making Sense, whatever it is, like just the awe that she inspires both audibly in the crowd and visibly in, you know, her collaborators, the people on stage. Like James Cleveland's playing piano during Amazing Grace. He sits down in a pew and cries for the last half of the song while she's singing Amazing Grace. It's unbelievable to me. So my pick for concert movie is Aretha Franklin, Amazing Grace.
That's a really good one. I don't know, you guys. Rob's kind of winning. House burned down or not, Rob's kind of fucking killing us.
That's a great pick.
That's such a good pick.
Sidney Pollack directed that?
Did direct it.
You guys big
And when I think gospel choirs and Aretha
think of
Franklin,
him in his
I think
suspenders
Sidney
and Eyes
Pollack.
Wide
I think the
Shut.
cinema of Sydney. Yeah.
Are you guys big concert film bros, guys?
What do you mean?
Like you like them a lot?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember in Rattle and Hum
Yeah.
when Bono's like rock and roll stops the traffic?
Yeah.
I live by that.
Dudes, dudes rock.
Am I booging ya? I didn't mean to boog ya.
I am the reason there's so much traffic in LA, and it's because I'm listening to rock and roll. I'm just like,
What does he say when he addresses the leader of the free world?
he says, "Excuse me, Mr. President." No, you guys don't know that
Mr.
one?
President.
He used to call up.
God isn't short of cash, mister. Is
Yeah.
what he's, yes. It's better when he says it, obviously.
Obviously,
Why'd you just start talking about Rattle and Hum?
Yeah.
because she was asking if we like concert films. I was just giving an example.
I'm
I was
so
also-
glad I was writing for most of that
Yeah.
conversation.
Do you like them?
There's like a few that I like, but like by and far, I don't love them.
I should probably it's my pick, so I should leave one for you, right?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be an absolute demon.
You can take whatever you
And
want,
take
babe.
one.
I can handle it.
You should do what you want to do. Yeah.
Don't do that to me. I'm gonna go 70s,
Okay.
and I'm gonna pick what I think is the best soundtrack of the 1970s.
That's the gist of the draft.
Have I just solved drafting? Which is Superfly by Curtis Mayfield. So this is something that more filmmakers should do, which is to hire one person and say, make the sound of this movie. no movie sounds like Superfly, which is an okay blaxploitation movie, but feels like one of the most important films ever made because of the depth and sincerity that Curtis Mayfield imbues in the movie. And it's like perfect time, perfect place for where movies were at that time and where the sound of kind of like contemporary R&B and funk colliding together were. But it's like both sets the template for a certain kind of R&B for the next 30 years, but also is completely unreplicable. Like, there's nothing that sounds quite like it, even though there were a ton of records that came out at that time attached to movies like it. So Superfly is the pick.
It's back to you.
He doesn't double. Oh, I doubles at me.
Oh, a double.
You double.
I double.
Because you were
'Cause I went
first.
first. Is that
Because he
okay.
let you go first. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go 90s, and I'm gonna wait. We talk about it first, then we write it. I was really excited to write on the board. I'm gonna go Romeo and Juliet.
Very Yasi.
Challenging for me for many reasons. Obviously, you know, I'm a 90s girly. There's so many good ones. And I also just didn't, we've done episodes on some of them that I just don't want to talk about again. And it's not that they're not my favorites and they really deserve the shine, but I was just being a mindful podcaster. And I was like, I like these just as much as those, and I just don't want to rehash.
Was it between this and Judgment Night for you, and you thought I did a Judgment Night episode?
Singles.
Now, Singles is on the list for sure, yeah. Well, this is a weird soundtrack. I seriously considered it as well.
It's, okay, to Chris's earlier point, it invented Love Fool. It existed, but like, it made that song like go crazy. And it just has like, it's just such a cool, weird mix of songs that are all pretty much all really good. Number One Crush, kind of in my opinion, the best garbage song. We Stan Art Alexakis up here, and Local God. Also, a lot of the songs were written for the film, which is so like Local God, like name checks Romeo, like you do that, Romeo. Also wanted to ask you guys, do you guys feel like a local god when you're with the boys?
Sure. Never with the boys, honestly, unless you mean my own boys, and I do not feel like a local god at all.
Do you think that Chris and I just like sit in a Corvette and drink Miller Lite and listen to Everclear songs?
Yes,
Because
we do.
that is what we do. That
You
is
know that I can't even imagine you
mine.
guys separate from each other. Like in my mind, you live in the same house with your spouses
Like
and your
the
child.
Beatles. Yeah.
You're never apart. But there's like 1 Inch Punch, bro. You ever fucking go back and listen to that 1 Inch Punch song, which is Justin Warfield from She Wants Revenge? It's a really good song. Kissing You.
Desiree, I was going to say, you got to do that.
Crying. Nelly Hooper snapped with that one, babe.
This is before OK Computer, right?
I was going to say, because Exit
Talk
Music
show
was supposed to be,
yeah.
and
Talk
they
Show
took
Host
Talk
was
Show
a
Host instead.
B-side
Yeah.
on Street Spirit Fade Out, which had already come out. That single with the B-side had already come out. Talk Show Host is a god-tier radio head song.
my favorites.
And Exit Music for a Film, which isn't actually on the soundtrack, but is in the film.
In the movie,
It's
right?
in the movie.
in the credits.
Everybody's Free to Feel Good, as covered by Quindon Tarver, a child in the movie. Also does When Doves Cry. It's random, a lot of Swedish people on here. I'm not really sure why, but... And then when they did covers, they had like the woman from Soul to Soul does the cover of, what is the song? This is why I bring notes, because I have no brain space. Young Hearts Run Free. It's Kim Mazel from, I just thought there's like really thoughtful and like cool, and it like touched on like club music in an interesting way, and it's really sexy, and like, this is just, I don't know. I thought it was the best soundtrack of the 90s.
Okay, so that's your 90s pick.
Yeah. Oh, and then now it's me again?
You guys are pro Baz Luhrmann?
Hit or miss for me personally.
These are my friends.
Why you?
I don't know if I've...
Across
Oh, no,
the
I saw
Love
Gatsby.
Romeo and Juliet, and
Yeah.
I have not understood a single thing he's done
me
since then.
neither.
I have no idea what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
it's-
In Romeo and Juliet, I'm like, this is such a great idea. Modernity with these old stories and bringing this cool new stuff to something old. And ever since then,
You know he's Australian.
you should shut up. Yeah. He's Australian, yeah. What does that mean?
A show called Australia, and nobody watched it.
I just
was a
feel
movie.
it explains
It
a
was a
lot.
movie.
Is all I'm
And he
saying.
cut it into a series.
He recut it into a streaming television show for Hulu called Faraway Downs.
Why can't I be normal? These people didn't even bring their Google Doc printed out on 70 pages. on their dad's printer because
Rob has
who
deeply
cares about his
emotional
ink,
anecdotes committed to memory. Sean and I are like, let's get in our car and stare at each other.
I'm going. What? Oh my God! This is a family show. I'm going 2000s.
Great.
And I'm doing Garden State.
Oh!
That's right, bitch.
I respect it.
I had to think long and hard about this, but I was like, I'm sorry, you can't fucking deny the Garden State. Whatever you think about it, and you know, famously, I'm the biggest hater of the 2000s. To me, they largely should not exist. Ugly, terrible time with terrible music and terrible fashion. Well, some good exceptions, but like, my dog, Zachary the Braff, he snapped on this one, babe. He went crazy. You know, he picked all the songs. He won a Grammy.
He won a Grammy?
Correct.
Music supervision?
Yeah, for the soundtrack. He literally won a fucking Grammy.
That's great. So is he 3/4 of the way to EGOT now? Where is... He's just waiting on that Tony.
Don't count him out, babe. I could see him singing and dancing.
4-time Best Actor winner, Zach Braff.
Don't Panic is an amazing song. That Coldplay album, that whole Parachutes album.
We have discussed this.
Yeah, we love it. The Shins, new slang. Okay.
It will change your life.
Yeah, it will change. And yes, was that a
Good song
corny...
they got saddled with that line, you know?
Yes, but whatever. They also got saddled with a bunch of fucking money. I'm sure they're fine. They would not be working today if that line didn't exist.
To me, it's not in the aftermath the song, it's the meme of putting on the headphones. Because
like
the song
DMX or whatever,
is
yeah.
good now as it was
I think
then.
what's happened, which I was a little, I don't know if you guys felt this way. I was like a little really trying to church and state the movie and the film because sometimes I have so much affection for the film that it like bleeds over into loving the soundtrack more than I should. This is, I think, has the opposite experience for people. Like, I think the soundtrack is catching strays because people think the movie is so corny and annoying, which is actually, honestly, it's not that bad. Did it invent kind of the manic pixie dream girl? Yes. Are there many annoying parts? Sure. But like the soundtrack is innocent.
You like the soundtrack?
Yeah, I do. I remember seeing it in the theater, and I remember like this is going to be a really big deal, and this is going to be annoying after a while, but then it's going to come back around, and then like 10, 15 years, somebody sitting next to me is going to draft it in a podcast draft, which is not a concept I understand at the time, but I just have the vague idea that all of this is going to happen. I can just see this cycle in my head.
I know you like the business aspect of things. You like business.
I like the what?
The business aspects of things. You're always going on about it on your podcast. You're always like, they paid $110 million for this film. What was the studio thinking?
Yasi discovered the big picture like 3 weeks ago, and she's like, I've been listening to your podcast. Wow, interesting choices.
That is correct. I'm a big pix. What are the people called that listen to the big picture? Do they have a fan?
Geniuses, that's what they're
Yeah,
called.
I'm a stand now. Did I work here for 2 full years without having ever heard one single 10 seconds of that? Correct. But no, it's great. But I just think that this movie was made for like $3 million or something, and he like sent the script to each musician to like ask them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a Simon and Garfunkel song on this soundtrack. Colin Hay, my dog, my guy.
I think he is.
You want me to stop talking at my own show? Is that what you
That was your second pick?
Yeah, she got Romeo and Juliet in Garden State.
I don't understand.
Great
You
Heights
keep,
by Iron and Wine.
but you didn't take the concert. I left the concert film for you to take.
You guys are really, you think you have me figured out. Like, you think you have me in a box, and you don't. I knew what you guys were going to pick.
She's bringing Manic Pixie Dream Girl back.
I'm not like other girls. The AI can say that, too. Just, I don't know if you guys know that. I'm not like other girls, so.
Can I ask the men on the panel to advise me? Like, am I supposed to take the concert film now?
Yes. Yes.
Don't look at me, dude. I don't want to get involved.
I don't
in
want to win.
You're not going to.
I think you're
You
gonna
could
win.
pick. You could pick like anything right now, and she will win. I think it's like. It's
I will
cool.
win because I have the love and support of my coworkers and the beautiful audience. So no matter what happens, unlike Sean, I don't care who wins the draft. I'm going to go home to the beautiful T-shirts that people sent me.
But when I arrive at the pearly gates and St. Peter says, how many drafts did you win? And I say 318, and he says, come right in, sir.
Yeah, that's how it works. Totally. I
Okay.
need to write my things, but yeah, go ahead. Is this because you're going to pick Talking Heads? Go ahead.
Yeah, in concert film, I'll take Stop Making Sense. I feel like it would be weird to go any further in this draft without taking that film, which is, in my opinion, the best concert movie of all time. Obviously, it just was in theaters again last year. Did you guys go see it in a movie theater? Recorded a podcast with Rob about that film and how spiritual and beautiful and exciting and stupid and fun it is. The screening that I went to at Vidiot's here in Los Angeles, every single person stood up and danced during the movie. I never had a movie going experience like that in my life. And Talking Heads, I think, are the best band since the Beatles, and maybe the best band period since the Beatles. I don't know if there's been another band that is more meaningful to me. So that's the movie I'm picking.
Also, you didn't mention that I think the most, sorry, me talking with my back to the audience. I feel like one of the most impressive things about that one is that, like, the songs are better than they are on the album.
I agree completely.
Like, it's like that's not that common. We talked about it on the Talking Heads episode, but like, you usually don't like the live version better, but like almost across the board on that album, the live versions are better, which is truly
It's
phenomenal.
The Lamp for me. It's naive
Lamp is
melody.
wonderful.
The Lamp is one of.
But we're not talking about the film. We're just talking about the soundtrack.
That's true, but it's still, I can see the lamp
Right,
when I
you
hear it.
listen to it.
It's
Rob, you're up, man.
You once dressed like David Byrne from the film.
did. You
In
got
a
the
promo-
big
That suit,
suit.
remember?
You expense
I was
that
like, can
suit.
I expense a big suit? And you were like, I remember exactly what you said. You were like, I did not realize you liked dressing up so much. And I told you, I'm an entertainer, and I live to entertain. And I looked great.
You all picked 90s already, didn't you? Yeah,
That's
you did.
it.
Okay.
And there's so much left, right?
I'm
Because
not
it's
worried
really
about that then. All right, I'm going to do the 2000s and beyond. It's Josie and the Pussycats.
I don't know, it's so good. It was on my list, Rob.
In 2001, if you were a certain sort of power pop, Cars, Go-Go's, moving into Fountains of Wayne sort of person, just the people behind this, right? Adam Schlesinger, of course, Kay Hanley from Letters to
Babyface.
Cleo. Babyface out of nowhere.
Babyface produced the
Adam
album.
Duritz.
That's right.
Jane Whelan from the Go-Go's. And the songs are... I feel like pop punk and power pop, as we move into the Warped Tour era, like it's just boys talking about how angry they are at how hot all the girls around them are. Like that's the subject matter of so much power pop and pop punk going forward. And I just feel like this is a nice, beautiful oasis, without that sort of toxic energy. Like so much of the music and even culture from 2001 specifically has this weird sort of ugly sheen for me that I can't figure out if that's because I was just a weird young adult and it just struck me weird, or it's like
You're an ally, a male ally.
That's exactly right. I was too sensitive. Thank you. But I like that this flopped at first. This has like Scott Pilgrim energy, right? Like I think it's better that it was the people who saw it in real time and really loved it. It was theirs for a long time, and now it's coming back around. Getting a lot more esteem. In the same way that Scott Pilgrim thing. I did. The like almost Marxist sort of anti-commercialism message of the film, I think really resonates now. Like I love that nobody understood it at the time, but everyone gets it now, right? And so my pick is Josie and the Pussycats.
So good. Matthew Sweet is involved in this. Like
Matthew Sweet.
Kay Hanley from Letters to Cleo is the voice of Josie.
What was the boy band's name in that movie? Du
Du jour. Du
was
jour
so
means
good.
friendship. Du jour means seatbelts.
Yeah.
They have a song called Backdoor Lover that I was playing on my Bluetooth in my hotel room, and I was like, I'm going to get kicked out of this hotel room right now. I erred in not bringing up Du jour. Thank you very much.
Genius movie.
Yes.
For 2000s, Yasi taught me it was okay to be not weird. So I'll take Royal Tenenbaums. Just under the wire there, 2001, I think it was, right? Needle in the Hay, possibly the best needle drop of the century. These days, the Vince Guaraldi trio, the beautiful... Using all these soundtrack songs also as texture, also as score, even though it's like, because they're just quick cut, chopped up. It's just such a genius way of using it, and there's no bad songs on this soundtrack, so...
That's a good choice.
Great moment for Van Morrison as well.
Yeah.
Incredible
tell you-
Van Morrison lineup for you.
Very pro Van Morrison lineup, yeah.
I didn't pick this one specifically because I felt it had too many Mark Mothersbaugh compositions.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel as strong to me as I'm not arguing.
Yeah,
I'm not
but if
arguing
it
my
has
case.
these days, Judy is a punk and needle in the hay.
But it was also I think when I was looking at this, I was getting so excited about things that like marked their era, and I felt like Garden State so marked its era. This is a great one.
You wouldn't feel that way about Gwyneth coming off the bus to these days? That's like that's
you
the
guys are once
2001
again
to me.
conflating the drops of songs in the movie with the soundtrack as it stands when you listen to it. Those are different.
We're interpreting the album as a piece of the film. Yeah.
And when I think of 1978 and what it represented,
think of
I think
Born
of
to Hand
Grease.
Jive.
That's really
Born
Grease.
to Hand Jive.
I think being born, yes.
That or performance. So I had two real weird choices.
That would have been good.
Yeah, it was on there.
So I have 80s and 70s left.
You can choose performance.
For 80s, I'll go Repo Man.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good.
I was just watching this the other day. How about music that sounds like the place the movie is set?
Or of the era. I mean, it's also
Or the
very,
era,
it's
yeah.
very contemporary.
So this is my era appropriate one. I don't have anything profound to say about this. It's just fucking awesome.
fucking rules. Yeah.
So yeah, those are my two Tenenbaums and Repo
Very
Man.
good. Thanks, Ryan. So many
That's a
I
good
lost
pick
my
for you.
marker. I don't know where my marker went. I'm sitting here. It has to be somewhere in like a 5-foot radius around me. I have no idea where it is. I don't feel like looking for it. So this is my board, and that's the way it's going to stay, just so you know. Nah, it's all right. It's fine this way. I've been... Okay, well, thank you.
Where could it have gone?
No, I really
haven't
don't know.
moved.
Is it? It's amazing. It's my superpower, honestly. This is my wallet is probably gone too, and I just don't know it yet. It's under the carpet over there. I'm like Houdini.
I think Chris probably just has them both.
Probably.
Chris, was the original title of the Watch TV Party, and you changed it?
Ooh, that's good.
It would have been good. When I lose Andy, I'll start a podcast called TV Party.
Such a good title.
TV Party?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a podcast called TV Party.
Well, there could be a better one, like yours.
You have 70s left, is that correct?
70s left.
Okay, so I better make sure you don't take the Muppet movie.
Now you're totally making a face. You didn't feel that? You didn't feel yourself make that face? Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Two things about the Muppet movie. I was in a medium stressful errand running situation. I don't remember what it was. I was in like a Kohl's returning something and I didn't have the thing. So I was like, and the Rainbow Connection came on and I was instantly soothed. I became so serene. There's something about the melodic quality of the Rainbow Connection that it's really one of the greatest songs of all time while you're listening to it. We got moving right along, right? We got a few jams, but I was in the Spotify office today and I was listening to it again, and there's a song I completely forgot about where it's Kermit the Frog and Rolf, the piano playing dog, and Kermit is like downtrodden and they're in a bar and Rolf is like, you look like you need a drink, and Kermit orders a grasshopper. And Rolf starts talking about how that's why I don't mess with women. I go home, I have a couple drinks, and I go to bed. And I started laughing so hard that Jonathan Kerma, my producer, who was sitting 2 stations down from me, stood up and walked over. He's like, Rob, what are you doing? And I had to explain to him, it's the Muppet movie, right? And like Rolf and Kermit, it's hilarious. And the look on Kerm's face is why I work from home. I can't turn on a microphone. I lost my marker. This is who I am. But I had just a sacred moment with the Muppet soundtrack today that other people were unfortunate enough to witness. But it was the funniest thing that I'd ever heard in my entire life, was Rolf saying, I go home, I drink 2 beers, and I go to bed. The Muppet movie.
It's a good one.
I think that's an amazing pick.
Such a good pick. The story, the Coles, everything. 10 out of 10.
The last song in that movie, when it's like, life's like a movie, write your own ending. That's crack. That is incredible stuff.
Do you think these songs are good, independent of them being sung by Muppets?
You just gotta get over it, man.
No, I'm-
just like have
This
a
is
heart.
content. I'm just asking if it was like a dude singing that song.
If it was like Iggy Pop,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You like the Cameron Winter album?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
What?
love
I'm just
it.
asking.
No, we both
Do you think
love
he's
it.
a
But I'm
Muppet?
like, you don't like Muppets singing?
Just to Yassi's point about us conflating the film and the music, I would just ask if you think that these songs are quality, or is it quality because
Van Morrison
Fozzie
sang
Bang?
The Rainbow Connection. Would it be beloved? That's your question.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Van Morrison sang New Slang. Also wouldn't hit as hard, you know?
Van
the questions
Morrison
we
will
need to be
change your
asking.
life.
Do you need some Ohio wine? You need to loosen up a little bit.
It's your turn, brother.
That's my notes.
I had my eye on Repo Man. I lost it to Chris. So I'm going with Say Anything from my 80s pick. Which is an amazing soundtrack. Obviously has an iconic needle drop, Within Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel, a song
we got
that
on there,
is
babe?
still beautiful to this day. Cult of Personality by Living Colour, a jam of all jams. And one of my favorite songs of all time, Within Your Reach by The Replacements,
I think that's my favorite Replacement song.
which is not
Top
like
5.
any Replacement song.
I know.
It's so
Drum
different
machine,
from what
right?
they do, but it is such a perfect Paul Westerberg song. And
It used to be a proper country. You would put that on a soundtrack.
What's
Of a
Lily
major-
Taylor's ex-boyfriend named in this movie? I forget.
Joe.
Joe lies.
Joe, yeah. Joe is always lying. Why is he always? Why does he
Awesome
lie?
song,
And Red Hot Chili Peppers' Cheap Trick, Joe Satriani. There's a ton of great songs in this, and this is really the beginning of the Cameron Crowe master of the soundtrack moment. So for 1980s, Say Anything.
It's a great one. Does Sean go twice now?
No, you.
You go twice.
You finish. You finish.
Oh, I didn't go. I already won twice, didn't I?
You went once, then you went back around, you went twice, now you go twice
I
again.
truly can't understand that. It doesn't matter how many times I do
Because we
it.
moved it. But this, you will get to finish out.
So I just do 2 more and then, because everyone else has everything. No.
No, we all have one more.
You have to stay on stage when you're done with yours, if that's what you're asking.
I'm going to go home.
Okay.
Okay.
You go home and watch The Last
So
Waltz,
I
perhaps.
do both 80s and performance film.
That's right.
Or concert
Concert
film.
film.
Okay. Damn, 80s is tough for me, you guys, right now. You guys have suggestions? Do I go with my heart or do I try to win? Okay.
Why not both?
Why not both? I know it's true. That's Sean. Sean's like, I do both. Stop. I think I'm gonna go with Times Square from 1980. Okay, is it the best movie in the world? No, but it's a fun movie. It's cool. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. I learned that it was because the producer was the president of RSO Records, and they had also put out Saturday Night Fever and Grease, my favorite soundtrack. And so he had a ton of money, and he wanted to make another The Pretenders, Talk of the Town, Roxy Music, Gary Newman is on here, Down in the Park, Talking Heads, During Wartime, Peanut Butter Song, XTC. They're just, I don't have all my notes, so I can't tell you the rest, but it's just Ramones, it has, I think, Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed. Does that sound right to you guys? It definitely has a Lou Reed song. I can't remember which one because my notes are not in order. Anyways, it's an incredible soundtrack, and it's also the thing that I like, where it's about this punk girl making music in Times Square with her new friend, and it has all this punk and new wave on it, and it's really turn of 1980. So that is my choice for 1980s. Have you guys all chosen?
Yeah.
Have you guys all chosen 80s? Has everyone
I
chosen
got
80s?
90s left, so yeah.
You still have 80s?
No,
I have-
Christopher Repo Man.
I have
Rain,
70s left.
Purple Rain.
None of us chose Pretty in Pink. That's really good. That was what I was stuck between.
You could have just chosen it.
What?
You could have just chosen it.
No, I know, but I think what I just chose
About
is
showing your flair.
I just genuinely enjoy that soundtrack better than I love the Pretty in Pink soundtrack, and it has those iconic moments, but as an interesting collection of music, I think Times Square is better. Also, Mick Jagger almost played the Tim Curry character. Did you know that? I have a question for concert film. Does the soundtrack have had to come out physically?
I don't know what that.
In the rules.
Well,
of
like,
this?
do you mean like could I have watched a concert on YouTube and that those songs are like what do you mean?
Like, did they have to have sold the soundtrack?
Pick it, man.
It's all good, Yasi. You could just pick it. Yeah.
I choose Madonna, Truth or Dare.
Great.
They never sold that as a CD, so I didn't know if that was okay. But
It's a concert film, right?
it's a concert film. It's so fucking sick. I watched. No one has been cooler or more beautiful than Madonna was in 1991 in that movie. It's astonishing, and also it's so many good songs, and it's the concert where she's the Gautier and like, it's
Why
amazing.
didn't they sell the soundtrack?
I don't know.
Bizarre. They sold
Truth
it.
or Dare, the one where Kevin Costner shows up backstage.
Yeah, and she's
Yes.
like,
He has that horrible haircut.
What did he say? It was interesting.
No, he called it like
neat.
neat, and
Thank
she was
you.
like, "Go fuck yourself." I mean, she didn't say that, but
That's why he made Horizon Part 1 an American Saga.
all this modernity. It's disgusting to me,
do
Madonna.
something else. Do my eyebrows. Best part. What did I say? Times Square. Beep 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 beep.
Chris, come on, you can vamp while Yasi writes.
I don't know if I've ever seen Times Square. I was just thinking of it.
But you haven't seen Times Square. It's not a good movie. It's fun. It's just like it's about these two girls who meet in like a place where they're being assessed for their mental health, but one's like a street girl, like a street punk girl, and the other is like the daughter of a rich politician, and they run away together, and they connect with this like New York radio DJ played by Tim Curry, who like helps them start a band, and because he wants to get back at the dad, who's this like horrible politician who's like kind of like trying to shut down the coolness of Times Square. It's a fun movie.
There's a lot going on.
Times Square. We need a Bubba Gump shrimp company in here. That's what we need.
All right, great picks, Yasi. Rob, you're up. Or does it go back to Sean?
I'm up.
Oh, you're up.
It's confusing. Do you guys follow how this goes? Oh, yeah,
You're
okay.
in 21st
You're better
century
than
now.
me.
I have a 21st century pick. I've obviously already taken a Tarantino film, so I'm not going to do that. I don't want to take a Wes Anderson movie. You've taken a Wes Anderson movie.
What you want?
I do. I'll take a movie soundtrack in honor of my co-host Amanda Dobbins, one of her favorite movies of all time.
Amanda Dobbins.
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Sofia Coppola's maybe her best film, arguably, debatably. I think her best soundtrack. Some people might say Lost in Translation. I think this soundtrack is the most interesting, the most exciting. It's the best, one of the best ideas in the movie.
It's so good.
Susie and the Banshees, Bow Wow Wow, Gang of Four, The Strokes. So my guy Alan Siegel wearing a vintage Strokes t-shirt tonight. Shout out Alan. So that's my 21st century pick, Marie Antoinette.
Very good one. Good job, Sean. Finally, some female director representation. Am I right?
All right, so it's me. It's 90s.
Yeah.
I'm going Lost Highway.
In honor of.
What is Zag?
I almost watched this on the plane over here. I am very glad I didn't do that. The first thing I'll say is that I rewatched it. I was not aware Bill Pullman plays a free jazz saxophonist, which is honestly a striking and unpleasant visual image as in any David Lynch film I've ever watched. That was a lot to deal with. So it starts with The Perfect Drug, right? Like I was trying to think about being a teenager, having, you get the Crow soundtrack, right? Because it's got the Stone Temple Pilots, and you're introduced to Nine Inch Nails covering Joy Division, to all this other industrial music. Like this idea of 90s movie soundtracks specifically as rabbit holes. Pulp Fiction could work that way. And so the idea of buying Lost Highway for The Perfect Drug, it's got a Smashing Pumpkins song on it, and then you're inundated with all this other shit that you can barely understand, but it's like, what I love about Tarantino soundtracks is it's like it expands time, right? Like gangsters in the 90s are dancing to Chuck Berry. You know, they roll up to the Plantation and Django Unchained to Rick Ross. You know, like this, the way that it expands time. And I feel like a David Lynch soundtrack expands like space. You don't understand where you are. There's all this music that you've never heard before, like just Angelo Badalamenti. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but just obviously I think of Twin Peaks first with him, but just the rabbit hole, the wormhole that it drops you into. Lou Reed singing This Magic Moments. Like Patricia Arquette gets like sort of a like kind of the David Lynch version of Gwyneth Paltrow these days. Royal Tenenbaums in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't watch that on the plane, man. I almost did it. They would have thrown me off the plane. They would have given me a parachute, and that would have been it. And this is sort of the birth of Trent Reznor as, you know, the Oscar god that we know and love today, right? Like David Bowie's I'm Deranged, like as in his industrial era. Like I was trying to think of the soundtrack that if you were just a 90s alt-rock kid like I was and you liked one song and you bought an album for one song, what is the most fascinating and surreal and sort of baffling and life-changing universe that like one CD could give you? And it feels like Lost Highway was it for me.
Wait, do you want to hear something crazy about I? That's a Smashing Pumpkins
That's a
song.
Smashing Pumpkins
Okay,
song.
just recently, William Corgan put up a very confusing series of Instagram videos. Did you guys see this?
Sure.
Where he explains that song was... So he wrote a song for Lost Highway, which was rejected by David Lynch personally. He was like, no, thank you. Go do something else. And he had written this song like years prior, like for a rapper, as like a throwaway, just like, and it was Shaquille O'Neal was the rapper. It didn't end up getting used. So he went back to that song, and that's what became I.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Correct.
Oh my God.
That is as disturbing an image as any
piece
David
of
Lynch
information. That was his like throwaway, I'll give it to Shaquille O'Neal's rap album song, and then it became I. One of the better Smashing Pumpkins songs, TBQH.
I had no idea.
There you go. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Can
That's
I
what
share
they pay me the medium-sized bucks for. Huh?
a couple Lost Highway notes?
Please.
One features Chris's favorite Rammstein song, Rammstein.
Oh, God, I didn't mention
Top
Rammstein.
5 at least, yeah.
There's a Rammstein song where he said something really mean and cool and tough in German.
Du hast!
That's not that one, but it sounds to me like I'm not Amish, and I hear it that way every time. Including when I was watching the film last time, they're killing Marilyn Manson while Rammstein's going, I'm not Amish. And it's like, this is the best movie ever made.
This is how Trent described his conversation with David Lynch about what he was looking for. He said he'd describe a scene and say, here's what I want. Now there's a police car chasing Fred down the highway, and I want you to picture this. There's a box, okay? And in this box, there's snakes coming out. Snakes whizzing past your face. So what I want is the sound of that.
Actually, like, great direction.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a good David Lynch, also, if that's indeed what that was. Yes.
I wasn't even trying.
Great pick, Robs. Can't believe none of us picked The Crow. It really just shows the 90s had so many good soundtracks that there's like 5 other ones that could have been just as phenomenal as the ones we picked.
Yeah. Well, I guess...
Judgment Night was definitely on
Really
my list.
outthought ourselves a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think we overthought.
Big Empty, man. Shit.
I know.
STP. Fuck.
The helmet.
Yeah,
That
you love
fucking helmet. I love helmet.
That's it for Rob. I have to pick my 70s movie.
Yeah.
Really stuck between stations here.
Grease 2?
On one hand,
That was in the 80s, first of all. Not to split hairs.
so stunningly, nobody picked Goodfellas for 90s. So I'm going to pick Mean Streets for 70s. Starts with Be My Baby. Is like the introduction to Scorsese's use of pop music and movies. Does it so well with the camera movement. I know you don't care because you just want this to be a mixtape, but it's amazing.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm newly a member of the film loving and watching community. I've had 2 celebrated appearances.
Are you
on
a
the Big Picture
Letterboxd
podcast.
Pro member? And yeah, just an incredible collection. A lot of Motown, a lot of classic rock. I was on the fence between this and Animal House because Animal House has 3 goated songs: Shout, Louie Louie, Star Spangled Banner. But I'm gonna go with Mean Streets. I'm gonna go with Mean
Such a
Streets.
patriot.
Yeah.
Would you mind humming the Star Spangled Banner for us now?
Louis. Okay, so that's it.
That's a wrap, you guys. You guys, quickly, before we vote or whatever we're doing now, I have no idea.
We're voting.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Sure.
We just wanted to mention, we said it on social media in the promotion of the show, but there are some little placards around that have information about Music Cares here who are doing some really incredible things to support specifically musicians and people in the music industry who were affected by the wildfires. And if you have it in your means to do a small donation, I think you can just scan a QR code. They're kind of littered around the place. So take a look out for those.
Do you guys want to recap your choices?
Should we do some honorable mentions?
Yeah,
say,
I was
what's
gonna
the
can we
most
do some honorable
egregious
mentions?
snub?
Yeah.
Some long lists here.
I have a lot of honorable mentions.
High Fidelity.
I
of
went
course.
back to High
Beta
Fidelity
Band.
and low key, it's not that good.
What?
I'm
High
so
Fidelity?
sorry. So sorry.
You know what is good? Gross Point Blank.
Yes, Gross Point Blank was one of my faves. That was on
in
We
the
somehow
bathroom?
got out of this without Dazed and Confused.
Isn't Confused. Fear and Loathing.
Oh.
Harold and Maude, that's a really good one.
The Crow.
Jam.
The Crow.
Oh, Poetic Justice. Crossroads, Britney Spears, honey.
The Oliver Assayas movie Carlos has an incredible score.
Settle down.
But you know what also has a pretty good score or soundtrack?
You know what,
A
for me
Complete
was
Unknown.
So important.
Dropped on in on this podcast. Sing you a little song. It's called Whim Away.
Have you seen Stealing Beauty?
Certainly. Bertolucci?
That was one of the most important soundtracks of my young life. It showed me who the Cocteau Twins were. It had that amazing Mazzy Star song on it. It had
It was
Portishead on
important
it.
for me for the same reason, but it was because Rachel Weisz took her top off, I think.
And Liv Tyler was really beautiful. Yeah,
I would
that
also
was
throw Juice in the 90s.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters.
The Big Chill.
What did we...
Quadrophenia?
Oh, yeah, You know what? Okay, cool. The other Who movie, which is not a movie.
Tommy?
No, there was the Kids Are All Right.
Oh, the kids are all right.
Has better
That's a
music.
concert
Quadrophenia
film,
has
right?
kind of the... I know, I'm just saying, in the scope of soundtrack.
What about Saturday Night Fever?
Saturday Night Fever, if you like disco.
Did you guys have any other concert films?
Beyonce Homecoming.
I did. Oh, that's good.
Taylor
Rude.
Swift, The Eras Tour.
Oh, that's great.
You're such an ally, such a male ally. I had Rude Boy, which I didn't know where it fit because have you guys seen Rude Boy? The Clash. It's like half concert film, half fiction film, but it is them playing in concert a lot of it. But then also they had to go back and re-record the music, so it's not live because the sound was fucked up. So I was like, maybe it doesn't fit into any of these categories. But that's a
good one, though.
pretty good.
Remains the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
yeah.
Monterey Pop.
Yeah.
Sign of the Times.
Woodstock.
Prince.
Block Party.
Oh, yeah.
Dave
That's a great
Chappelle's
one.
Block Party.
No one said Almost Famous. Waiting to Exhale. I'm just looking at the Varsity Blues, the film. Yeah.
Brown Sugar. Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. It's a good one.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Clueless?
Yeah.
Clueless was my
Rolling with my
second pick for
homies.
90s. I couldn't decide between Romeo and Juliet and Clueless.
Above the Rim?
Yeah.
White Man Can't Jump. Let's recap our picks. Let's recap. So Sean, you go first.
I'm not done. In 90s, I selected Pulp Fiction. In 70s, I selected Superfly. In concert film, I took Stop Making Sense. In 1980s, I took Say Anything. And for the 21st century, I took Marie Antoinette.
Very good, Sean. Okay, for the 70s, I much derided, made fun of, took Grease, a fantastic soundtrack. For the 90s, I took Romeo and Juliet. 2000s, Garden State. Concert film, Madonna, Truth or Dare. And 80s, Times Square.
All right, I got 80s Purple Rain.
I think Rob won.
Prince's family here?
Every...
Concert movie, I got Aretha Franklin, Amazing Grace. 2000s, Josie and the Pussycats. '70s, The Muppet Movie. I think especially. And '90s, Lost Highway.
Very good, Rob.
In '90s, I took Train Spotting. In concert film, I took The Last Waltz. For 2000s and beyond, I took Royal Tenenbaums. '80s, I took Repo Man. '70s, I took Mean Streets. I guess we can go through the gesture of deciding who won.
I think Rob won, honestly. He's really the populist vote.
Congratulations, Yasi.
It doesn't even count, but
Amazing
I'll
victory.
take it. You know what, you guys? I respect you. Thank you. I know that you just gave this one to me because even looking at it, I know it's not as good as theirs, but I'll take it.
I think we're gonna take some questions from the crowd. Is that right?
Questions, yeah.
We have some folks walking around with microphones, so if you just raise your hand, they will try and spot you. We got a wired mic, so you actually have to come up and face the music here, so to speak.
No questions from the Prince estate,
pun
please.
intended. They're just gonna shout soundtracks we forgot at us.
Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, it's a lot harder when you have to walk up to the mic, isn't it?
It's tough when you can't hide behind your
You don't have
anonymous
to ask.
accounts.
It's not mandatory.
Here we go. Somebody's coming up. Brave soul.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are on soundtracks that really where the musicians are sort of specifically working with the film. Because one of my favorites, which is a very weird movie, is Spawn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yes, of course.
the soundtrack is like they forced a bunch of bands to work together. and that was
Judgment
really-
Night Part 2
Yeah,
is
like
call it
it's-
around here.
and the Dust Brothers, and so I was just curious if there are others that I'm not thinking of that are like in that category where it's not just they took songs, where it's like they're really working to do something weird or unique with the movie and the filmmakers.
Judgment Night is the only other one I can think of where it's like they did something specifically like Spawn.
Yeah. The only other example of that I can think of, period, is when Loud Records did the like rap rock combo album. Do you remember that? Where they had their like rap groups play with rock bands, but movies.
I mean, I guess a little, not the whole soundtrack, but Romeo and Juliet, like I pointed out, they did have them write specific songs that like reference the story of Romeo and Juliet to go on the soundtrack. But yeah, I guess past that, we used to be a proper country and we're not anymore. They don't do that stuff anymore.
The Spawn soundtrack is the end of an era, I guess, is the way we have to.
What would you say was like the first real like soundtrack where they were like, we're putting all these cool songs on one? Easy Rider. Yes, I wanted to draft
was a
Easy
good
Rider,
call.
but it was
Yeah.
69.
Yeah. I think of American Graffiti as kind of a watershed for older music rather than contemporary music. But yeah. I mean, it wasn't... The Ringer produced an entire documentary called Mr. Saturday Night about the Svengali who managed the Bee Gees and used his relationship with the Bee Gees to kind of forge all of these inroads in Hollywood. And one of the things that he did was help produce Saturday Night Fever and created the mega soundtrack, the mega selling soundtrack, by working with his artists and getting them paid like 5 times over and him 100 times over by creating this
I think
synchronicity.
it might have been the same way at Times Square. And you know, Barry Gibb wrote Grease, the titular track. Grease is the word, is the word.
There aren't
I'm really
many
not familiar with the Grease
huge
soundtrack.
soundtracks anymore. Like the Barbie soundtrack or like Black Panther. Like they're few and far between. Like I saw the TV Glow, I think is the movie I've seen most recently. Like the claw machine scene in that movie is the most struck I've been by a song in a movie, you know, that hadn't existed before as far as I knew. But it just, the event soundtrack just does not happen. I don't know if that's like a streaming thing, like compilations, like grab bag compilations just aren't.
So we would buy those. Like I would listen
Right.
to it over and over and over
Yeah.
again. That was like, it was like an album. I would put it on. People don't do that anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
hi. We have another question.
We got another question.
So it wasn't the exercise tonight, but maybe some underappreciated scores. I'll throw mine out. Tangerine Dream, 3 O'Clock High,
Absolutely.
and Thief. Just stuff like that. What do you guys think?
I listen to Michael Dyna's Moneyball score all the time. It's really good working music. It's mostly piano, and it's like the same theme over and over again, but it is gorgeous. So that's an underrated one, the Moneyball soundtrack or score.
Under the Skin has like a really good score. I listen to that a lot.
by Mika Levy.
Mika
Yeah.
Levy, yeah, I like that one a lot.
Being John Malkovich was a big one for me. And it's always, I hated the movie, honestly, but Dancer in the Dark, Bjork's, I loved that one. If Beale Street Could Talk, I think like when that came out, that was like everyone's writing music, I feel
Nicholas
like, for a
Britell,
year.
yeah.
I have not seen Challengers yet, but everybody talks
yeah.
about how amazing.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
really
Raising
good.
children poorly, mostly.
They'd love it.
Yeah, take the family.
That's right.
Underrated scores?
I think, Ennio Morricone died a couple of years ago, and there's obviously 5 or 6 legendary scores that he worked on. But if you just listen to any Italian crime movie that he worked on between 1958 and 1967, it's the coolest fucking thing you've ever heard, like Danger Diabolic or whatever, and you'll just be mesmerized by how forward-thinking and exciting all that music was. I don't know. It's almost hard to answer. There's so many.
Wish. Was that Herbie Hancock primarily, I think? Maybe I'm making that
Yeah.
up.
You know what's one that I think of all the time that I love is Daniel Hart's score for The Old Man and the Gun, which is a David Lowery movie, very jazzy score.
Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread
That's
is
a great
one,
score.
yeah. I would say not underrated. I would say properly rated.
I don't know. Sorry, what were we doing? Underrated? To me, all scores are
the man
underrated.
was wondering about-
Please. Sorry, my apologies. I'll go now. Hi.
Hey, popular soundtracks that you really don't like.
Well, I have scar tissue from working in record stores in the 90s and having to hear the Forrest Gump soundtrack like on repeat. Wow. It was
But
just
it is
always
so
on. What's that?
It's so good. It is good.
It's good? I mean, yeah.
Think of a
It's
song
easy
other than
though.
You
Fortunate
were like
Son.
a certain age, and then that was how you got introduced to all this kind of classic rock.
I wasn't of that
I hear
age.
you, though. I hear you. Soundtracks that I
Think of
hate.
anything that I hate.
Like, I'm trying to think of a film that I watched that I was like, ugh, this song, this sucks.
Oh no.
You want me to shit on
Yes.
stuff?
Only me? Yeah. For Gump?
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yo, no, absolutely not. I did and do love classic Disney soundtracks, and I'm experiencing them all over again right now, and it's freaking great. So shut the hell up.
Moana 2 has no bangers, man. My
Moana
daughter,
2 has no-
my 4-year-old daughter likes
You've
Get
been
Lost.
turned.
She likes the disco
She
song
Who and
that's
Beyond,
it.
fire. They're both fire. I've come around completely.
The first one is fire. The second one is not fire. Or is not fire to the same degree. There's no shiny on Moana 2.
That's
in my
fair.
view.
That's fair. I agree.
The Ryan Gosling movie where he drives the car around. Yeah. Did it?
3 men simultaneously say drive.
Hold on. Are you coming out against the Drive soundtrack?
It's just not my thing. I didn't do it for me.
What do you mean it's not your thing?
I don't like that kind of music.
Driving?
What is it? Kaminsky? What are they? It's just not my thing.
You think that's bad?
It's just not my thing. I didn't like. Everyone was like, "Oh my god," and I was like, "Okay, I guess."
You get in a knife
Do you
fight
feel like
with
he
Chris after
misled
the
Carey
show.
Mulligan? Yeah. Do you feel like he misled Carey Mulligan about like his true occupation?
No, I don't have it. Honestly, the movie was kind of boring, but I
Do you remember Oscar Isaac's character's name in that movie?
It's something outrageous.
It's standard.
Yeah. And he wants to open a restaurant, right? Isn't that why he's doing the crimes?
not like your favorite movie.
No, but it's up there.
Okay, sorry, Chris. I didn't. Wow.
You should ask him about Heat.
I like Heat.
Who's got a question?
Yeah.
So I'm recently rewatching The Leftovers, and I've rewatched International Assassin, and so I'm wondering what's the best song that's been karaoke'd in film or TV that you guys like?
That's good.
I think of karaoke moments.
What did they sing in Lost in Translation?
Yeah.
More than this? More than this, yeah.
I don't know if you.
She does Brass in Pocket, yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but I recently became a film producer, and that was because in the movie Skincare, the character sings a Cure song Just Like Heaven, which I helped clear. And I'm using this time to remind you that I'm a film producer, but also that's one of the only times I can remember someone doing karaoke in a movie.
Was there a Gwyneth Paltrow movie about karaoke?
Duets, yeah.
Yeah, directed by her father.
Oh, we didn't talk about what's the Drew Barrymore singing movie, like Heart and Soul, music and lyrics. That's a great, yes, Adam Slash and Good. That was a great soundtrack.
Yes, it was.
Many a good original
That
songs.
Thing You Do never came up. I guess that's a little weird.
Okay,
Kind
but
of a
low-key,
one-
it was just the one song.
One
the one.
song, you know? What name? Can you think of another song in That Thing You Do?
No, that's
Yeah.
why it didn't come up.
Neon Eaters. It's a tough one.
It
Yeah.
was a good song, though.
One-hit wonders.
What did you say on today's episode of 60 Songs? Hinder? Did you mean that?
Okay.
Was it a joke or were you being serious?
No, I was It's Hinder. The band Hinder is the band name. I have like 7 people on Twitter telling me this. I pronounced it the way that it sounds like more butts. Like Hinder is like that's the why I pronounced it. Like
That was just like
subconsciously.
you were doing like a galaxy brain thing. I didn't
That's
get it.
exactly
Yeah,
what
okay.
I was
So
doing.
sorry.
Yes, it was very
Are
well
you saying
thought out.
you did think it was pronounced
I
like that?
mispronounced the name of the band
purpose.
Hinder.
But you did it on purpose?
Yes.
People on Twitter corrected you?
As far as you know, yes.
Should we let this nice man ask his question?
Another question.
Any favorite or like standout music video crossovers like Coolio's Gangsta Paradise or like Prince's Bat Dance?
I like the Teenage Fan Club and De La Soul music video because they're in it together and it's very cute seeing Teenage Fan Club and De La Soul like interact. And they're
What do
also
you
in a
think they talked
classroom, I
about?
believe. What did they talk about? I must know. Yeah.
I mean, this appears in the Yacht Rock documentary, but obviously Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines and the Michael McDonald song at the end of that film is a good one. Remember that happened all the time? And I was like, why is this movie star standing next to Axl Rose in this video? Yeah. But there was like, oh, it's a tie-in. So this is what we do. We have lost something.
Maybe my brain cells. I don't, yeah. Hi.
So can you think of a movie where the soundtrack is so bad that it makes you dislike the movie?
He's wearing a Mets sweatshirt and a Mets hat. Are you going to acknowledge that?
Moana.
Let's go Mets.
Moana. Back to Moana 2, just kidding. The movie was also bad.
Yeah, it's a soundtrack so bad that it reflects poorly on the movie.
You actually would have to think like the music was used in the movie so poorly that it made you like dislike the movie.
I'm
Can't
thinking of the American Pie soundtrack for some reason. What's on that?
Punk, right?
Is that you wanted more than I could handle? More. The Tonic
You're
song?
doing Michael McDonald right now? That's really good.
That's my 90s man singing voice, and
it
it's just
is.
sort of pan.
Can you do a little more of that,
across.
please? It's really good. Okay.
Apparently, Etta James's "At Last" was on the American Pie
They had,
soundtrack.
they had a budget.
And also, it's been 1 week.
Maybe
You
that's
shouldn't be allowed to have those two songs on the same soundtrack.
chicken a Chinese chicken. That's a
Favorite lyric
It's a
in the
really
song,
good
thank
song.
We have another question.
Yeah, so are there any like soundtracks that make you try to act like a movie's good? Like I love the Batman Forever soundtrack and the movie's terrible.
Oh, that was a good one. Hold me,
we
thrill me,
forgot
kiss
that
me,
one.
kill me. Yeah, that's a good one.
Kiss from a Rose, man.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, is Judgment Night a good movie?
Oh,
Let's
not
be really
particularly.
honest. Not a good movie. Great soundtrack.
I'll say, when I saw the trailer for Rushmore with the Creation song, I was like, this is probably gonna be the greatest movie ever fucking made. And it is like the 8th greatest movie ever made, but just that one song, like it had, that is obviously the point of this whole conversation is the way that music transforms your emotional relationship when you're watching a movie. And all of the people who were the best at picking songs for these movies were able to transfer something to you about their taste that is so powerful. So like, I have a hard time like appreciating bad movies, honestly. But but there's something about taking a very good movie to an elevated state because of the songs that are added to it that is probably worth
Like when they
acknowledging.
put How to Save a Life in Grey's Anatomy. really
too.
elevated the form. I
Proven
think.
perfection right there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or Spawn. I thought of
Or
Spawn immediately.
a fabulous film.
Next question.
So, if you had a film made about you each individually, what song would you mandate was on the soundtrack?
Oh,
Get a Chinese chicken.
He's looking at me, and I don't like it at all.
You have a podcast that's like about songs.
That is true.
Would it for you? Would it be They Might Be Giants?
That's great. It would be Particle Man by They Might Be Giants. Is he a dot or is he a speck? When he's underwater, does he get wet or does the water get him instead? Nobody knows. Particle Man. Directed by David Lynch. From the grave.
Scored by
what
Trent
is your
Reznor,
answer to
Alex
this question?
I don't know. This is such a hard one.
Burnt by 9 Inch Nails?
The Johnny Cash version. Yeah. Like, what is the movie about? Is it burning down the house? If it's
The
now,
inspirational
if the movie comes
story.
out now,
Yeah.
yeah, out of the ashes, the Yasi Salek story,
Yeah. Phoenix.
like a phoenix,
Starring
she
Yasi
rises from
Salek.
Never made it as a wise man.
Couldn't. That'd be a great drop.
Because you often talk about this song, Spoon Man by Soundgarden.
That would be your.
Because of how into spoons I am. I just think spoons are really cool. I never forget seeing Chris Cornell talking about introducing Spoon Man on 120 Minutes, and he was so earnest.
Yeah.
And God rest his soul, he's a genius. But he was just like, I just saw this guy on the street, he's just playing the spoons. And I was like, it's a great idea for a song, Spoon Man. Boom. I was like, what the fuck? Like, is that how you write songs? I was 12. I couldn't believe he did that.
That literally is how you write songs.
It totally is.
What about you, Chris?
What's the Audio Slave song from Collateral?
It's called Meathead Idiot, I think is the name of the song.
Meathead idiot.
This is that Rammstein song.
I don't know.
It's such a hard question.
It would be cool if it was like some Zeppelin or Stone song, because then I know that the movie would be
iconic.
like
Yeah.
pretty big, because they would have to spend a lot of money on the soundtrack. And that's pretty fucking cool. Like imagine like Scorsese, like we got to get the CR story right. So let's get
So Jumpin' Jack Flash.
That's it.
I would have to do a whole song, probably.
Whole song? Which
Yeah.
one?
I don't know. Maybe
Violet?
Miss World.
Miss World. That's good.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And that would be a good name for the movie.
Yeah, right? My other one would be This Is Random, but American Girl. Your Best American Girl. Is it called Your Best American Girl by Mitski?
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good one
The
too.
best and maybe only song about the immigrant daughter experience. So,
We got time for one more question.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. Very quick shout out to Yasi for clarifying some Irish border things. As an Irish man, I appreciate it.
God, a real Irish man is here, you
Yeah.
guys.
The Fontaines
These
DC
fucking
clarification
fakers.
on the latest.
Well, I was shamed by the Reddit community who told me I was racist.
So I really
So
appreciate it.
I educated myself about the difference between Northern Ireland and regular Ireland.
very much appreciated.
That's how they refer to it.
You say regular Ireland?
And other
I think if
and
you said
Ireland.
regular Ireland.
Full stop, period.
Alternatively, normal Ireland.
Yeah.
He's like, I take it back.
I'll conduct a seminar outside in the lobby later. My question is actually, out of movies that have musicians maybe in a breakout role, is there any that that are a favorite? So thinking like 8 Mile, Star is Born.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Anything in that realm, or Purple Rain, of course.
Great question.
My first thought was Once.
Such a good movie.
Glenn Hansard and Markita Irglova, I think.
Great movie.
That's good. That's right. Yeah. And Glenn Hansard. Yeah.
And that song.
I guess you could.
was
This
so crazy.
Complete Unknown would work for this. Apparently, Timothy Chalamet is Jack White and James Blake now. So
Did you get like paid by Searchlight? It's like the 8th time you brought up a Complete Unknown.
well, I wanted to mention something that was more recent. Yeah.
Ooh, of course.
What about
Cap, great shout.
Kneecap is good, yeah. Lady Sings the Blues, Diana Ross, right?
You're a classicist. I like it. don't know, man. This is a hard one.
Spoon Man in the movie Spoon Man.
Well, obviously it's Eddie Vedder's turn as the drummer in Citizen Dick in Singles.
What does he say? It's like, when you succeed, we succeed. Yeah.
Exactly. A win for you is a win for us. Who else has been? Courtney Love's been in many films. She's done a great job. Sid and Nancy.
I think it's a great place to end on Sid and Nancy.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys so much. Rob and Yasi are gonna do a meet and greet.
If you guys want to say hi to us for like a few minutes, we will be out by
that screen where it says the ringer out there.
Yeah,
and thanks
We
to
did a screen of our logo many times to talk in front of, and
So if
they
you
gave
want
it
to
to
come
us.
say hi, you can. I think they're asking you to line up by the bar if you want to. I don't know. There's going to be a line. That's presumptuous, but if you'd like to, we will be there. And thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you so much.